how the journey has been, like, from LA to back home, and also thinking about, starting your own brand. And considering you decided to start it before the pandemic, and thinking about athleisure in a way, and then that's what all of us are. Loungewear is what all of us are in. You kind of predict. Love to hear a little bit of that journey.
As a 16-year-old, I want to work downtown, so I would take the bus an hour and a half to downtown and be the one person in the suburbs, like, who wants to like be in the downtown vibe. And I got a job for this designer, and he was always traveling with his husband, and like he would name all the styles, all the garments would be named after employees or friends or inspiration. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, oh, I really like this. I like the fact that like he gets to create, he gets to travel, people are actually coming in to buy his stuff. And I mean, he got really, really huge at the time. And I think that's kind of what started the seed in me, like I definitely want to be a designer. And at 16 years old, I started my first, I guess, capsule collection. I started creating like leather cuffs with like rhinestones, and this is 1998, so leather cuffs with rhinestones, and they were selling in the store for like $36, and they were selling out. And as a teenager, I was like, this is a really cool concept. Like, you could make something and someone will buy it. And it just was really fulfilling as a person, like that your own creative energies could create something that other people would want. I mean, this is how crazy Los Angeles is. I ended up getting onto a reality show. I ended up being on an MTV reality show produced by Ashton Kutcher called You've Got a Friend. It was like a hidden camera reality show, and like there was an episode solely about me, and I had to like play tricks on my friends, but MTV was playing tricks on me. It was like psychological warfare. At the end, I won $15,000.
Oh my!
And I got $15,000, and I used that to like finally like professionally launch a brand. And I launched the t-shirt brand, and I ended up going to a fashion show maybe 3-4 weeks later, and it just so happened that it was Victoria Beckham's fashion show for Rock and Republic, because at the time she was a designer for Rock and Republic jeans. So I go say hi and say, the show was amazing. And she grabs my blazer and opens it, and she goes, "Where's your t-shirt from?"
Oh.
And I was like,
oh wow.
I was like, "It's my brand." And she's like, "Could I get one?" I nearly fainted. I was like, absolutely. So she calls over her security, and they get my phone number. We exchange information. We get a picture together. We continue to hang out, like obviously not together, but like I was with my group of friends. She continued to bring people over to me to show them my t-shirt. Look at his t-shirt. Oh my God, it's so cool. Like, I'm getting one. And I was like, and that kind of just started like a little bit of a mini relationship with her. So every time she would come to LA and she was doing like maybe a signing at a clothing store, I would go, and there would be like a huge crowd in front, and they'd be like, "Reese, is there Reese here?" And I was like, "That's me." And I come in, and like Victoria Beckham's like, "Reese, I love your t-shirts. They're so soft. Like, I wanted to wear one today, but they made me wear the Dolce & Gabbana tank top." And I'm just like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "Actually, look, the tank top's too big, but I'm using one of your pins to hold the tank top together." And it had my pin that said like, "Posh is the shit," and I was like, this is crazy. And then she said, "Can I come over to your store? Like, can I come over? Like, where do you have more product?" And just from there, it naturally evolved. And after living in Los Angeles for like almost 8 years, I just decided I wanted to come home to Montreal and try to give it a try in retail fashion, like in corporate fashion. So I moved to Montreal, and I started my career in like working for other brands, and over the past 10 years, I've worked for like some major companies like Buffalo, William Rast. And at the back of my mind, I always knew that like my own thing is really where my heart lies. So in 2015, with the advent of Kickstarter, I decided I'm going to launch a Kickstarter and try to grow a new business. So I ended up raising $23,000 on Kickstarter, like in a 40-day like campaign. The company I worked for closed my department and laid me off. So I took it as a sign, as scary as it was. I'm like, okay, my Kickstarter launched at midnight, and on Monday, I got laid off. I'm like, this is the universe telling me, devote time to this. So for 4 years, I did my own brand with a partner full time. And we did the trade shows. I showed in London, I showed in Paris, I showed in Vegas every season, and figuring out now it's all me. It's 100% me. Where do I go next?
Yeah.
So naturally, De La Commune by Reese de Luca evolved to by Reese de Luca, which is what it is today. And my previous brand was a mixture of loungewear, but also, denim and some casual staples. And I realized that number one, my best-selling products were the lifestyle loungewear.
Yeah.
And number two, even though I was a menswear brand, I found out from my stores that 40% of my customers were women. And that's something I never thought of before, because I'm a menswear brand, but it just so happened that my stuff was androgynous enough that women would come in and they don't know it's a man's pants, so they would try it on. And
Victoria Beckham, loved your t-shirt. So,
yeah, exactly, right? So now with the relaunch of by Reese de Luca, I'm lifestyle loungewear, 100% to my core, and I'm now gender free, as I call it. Not gender neutral, because then it actually specifies there is gender, but I'm gender free. And I mean, as a designer, I don't design for a guy or a girl or someone who's 100 pounds or 200 pounds. I just design something. I realized that everything leads up to something. Everything happens for a reason. And if you're a smart person, you just take your failures and you kind of analyze what happened, what worked, where did I make wrong decisions, and just try to fine tune that. And now I'm doing everything bootstrap. I do everything myself. And yeah, I mean, you learn from past, and I really hope that I feel like this is the right time because everything has started to line up.
And I find it very interesting what goes on in the mind of a designer and somebody who's bringing a brand to people. How do I bring my life and my story and all the little moments, right?
As a gay man, and as someone who obviously grew up and was a teenager during times where maybe being gay was not okay, I was a lonely person, and I don't think I realized the kind of person that I am. And now I'm just so authentic, just who I am. And I am who I am. And I'm just I'm nerdy and I'm weird, or I'm artsy. And I'm realizing now that those are my strengths.
Yeah.
Things that I was maybe teased for or put down for, or made me think I'm not good enough, actually are the strengths. And these are the things that maybe are what's going to make me successful. So I just try to be really authentic, and I think that's what people connect with, because especially in today's age of Instagram, where perfect images and Photoshop and this and that, I think people react, and people could recognize when something feels real versus something that has a marketing sheen over it. And I don't think I've actually sat down to think what my story is going to be. It just naturally happened. And when good things start to happen because you're just doing things naturally, then you realize oh, okay, so people must like the fact that, and that's why my brand is, for once, it's not a name. Before it was Posh Stuff, Posh Essentials, Fallen Pride, De La Commune, and now it's Reese de Luca. It's me. And everything, whether you're wearing the clothes or you're reading something I'm writing or watching a video, it's 100% me. It's not a brand, it's me, So I think I realized that now. I'm either you love it or you don't, but I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna just create. And sometimes my creations are weird, but then those are the ones that end up working, because there's a lot of weirdos out there, and I mean that in a good way, I don't think
it's a good thing. We tend to think that we are just so unique and isolated and all of that, and then you reach out and you're oh wait.
Yes, yeah. So that's I actually just came up I started working on a slogan graphic, and it's fashion club for weirdos. It's and I'm just so I've done a couple different patches, and I'm just you know what I mean? Proudly a misfit since 2013. It's nice to just embrace everything that is you and be able to even turn that into a business. Hey, even better, but at the end of the day, obviously making money is the goal of any business, but it has to be more than that. Profit is not my end goal. My end goal is feeling fulfilled as an artist, making other people feel amazing about themselves. Nothing is better when someone tries on my thing and looking in the mirror and they're oh, I look so good, I can't believe it. And I mean, I'm not doing heart surgery, but I'm making someone feel good about themselves. And when someone feels good, they feel powerful and they feel like confident. And it's crazy to think that like a piece of fabric that's sewn a certain way or dyed a certain way can make someone feel like $1 million, you know? So it's fulfilling. There are days where I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know, obviously, especially now, having no job, being laid off because of the pandemic. I mean, I'm spending a good chunk of money producing like my collection right now. And there's some days where I'm like, oh my God, like this may not work. Like, am I doing the right thing? Like, I could have taken that $5,000 and like, I don't know, like it could have been for my future, my retirement. I have no idea, you know, but I'm like, there's some days, yeah, where it's just a heavy weight because it is a big risk. But then you get the review, or then you get someone who's like, oh my God, I loved it. And then you realize, okay, it's a risk, but it's a good risk. And sometimes you have to take a risk, you know, like you can't always play it safe. No. And it's scary, but that's like, let the adrenaline fuel you. And, you know, hard work does pay off. Some of my friends are like, oh, I hate you. It's like you have a horseshoe up your ass. And I'm like, no. You're seeing the outside or like the effects, but like, I mean, I'm up till 3:00 in the morning, you know, sometimes editing my photos for, you know, for Shopify, or for like right now participating in a wholesale show. I mean, I've been up to 3:00 this past week and a half. I produce in India and China. Well, guess what? When it's nighttime for us, it's daytime for them. So even last night, 1 a.m, I'm just writing back to Kumar, like, yeah, absolutely, this is cool. Like, you know, and my boyfriend's in bed, like, are you coming? I'm like, yeah. I just have one more email. Just hold on 1 second. He asked me a question, or else I lose the day. And it's just, but I love it. Yeah, this weekend I'm doing kind of like an open house from 12 to 6, so people could just drop in. I actually just did socks, like really buttery soft socks, and I'm going to be offering them tie-dyed on my website. But at the event, I have all the dyes. People could buy the socks and tie-dye their own socks at the event. So it's going to be like a fun activity. And I guess the funny, just being authentic, like I just put a little sneak peek on my Instagram, like prepping for the pop-up. And I think within half an hour, I just was randomly on my website and I saw one live visitor, and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, Texas, cool. I'm stalker. Like I love, okay, there's someone in Texas looking at my stuff. And I thought, oh, I actually have a couple customers in Texas. 20 minutes later, I go on my Instagram and one of my customers messages me, I can't find the socks anywhere on your website. Can you please send me the direct link? And I realized, oh yeah, it's you. You're in Texas. And I was like, oh, actually, like I'm putting them up this weekend. Like I'll message you as soon as I get them. I also have new masks. And he's like, all right, message me. I'm going to buy a mask and a sock the moment like it's ready. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then like I had like another influencer that I'm working with sent me a little fire. So, you know, little by little things are happening. And I think in the past, as a young person, I mean, I'm still young, okay, but as a younger person, maybe that is just has my head in the clouds, like, you know, you're here but you want to be there, and you're always thinking about you're not enjoying the moment. You're thinking about where I need to go, and I need to be $1 million brand, or I want to be like this. And now I'm like, you know what, let's do this organically. It's gonna grow by itself. Let's just enjoy the moment. And it's made me a lot happier. Like, of course, I still have goals. I still want to hit like certain things, but I think I'm realizing now that like you have to enjoy the moment that you're in. And I mean, yeah, hopefully I'll get there one day, but where I am right now is actually pretty good. And, you know, if it takes me a few years to get to where I want to be, I'm okay with that now. When in the past I was just like, oh, I have so much I need to achieve, and like, how am I gonna do it? And I mean, my mom, okay, she's gonna love that I'm bringing her up. My mom always said, she's like, you always think about what you haven't achieved instead of thinking about what you have achieved. Yeah. And yeah, mom, whatever. But now I understand that completely, because then when I'm like, even listening to the story I told you, I'm like, these are crazy stories. Like, I don't know many people who like were on reality shows and I don't know, met their idols, you know, like here I am from the suburbs in Quebec, and I'm like, hanging out with Victoria Beckham, and she's telling me she likes my stuff. I'm like, this is something that I would never have dreamed of as a kid. And yeah, you just have to like enjoy it, and wherever life takes you, like I'm happy now. Like as long as I have money to pay my bills, like I realize like I just want to feel fulfilled as a person. I don't need to necessarily achieve this crazy goal of being like a Chanel or like a Marc Jacobs. I'm just a Reese Luca, and if I have 1,000 great customers who love my stuff, then that's good for me now. So
I just loved just connecting with you.
Me too. Yeah.
Sometimes it's like very different people come up with very unique ideas. So if you keep exchanging, if you keep talking to people that you can connect to, you never know. Let's do this.
Yeah. Cool.
So
Awesome.
glad to know you, Reese.
You too. Have an amazing day.
You have a great day. Bye.
Bye.